Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this free video, let's talk about what we are hearing now is a substantial phase one deal with China. Now, rather than getting into all the details on that, I'm sure you guys will be hearing all of that ad nauseum over the next couple of days. But the bottom line is, whatever you hear, I think this was a very interesting point. None of this has been written down yet. None of this has been actually put to an agreement yet. These are all different points that have been agreed to, but the deal has yet to be put into writing. So call me cynical, but after so many go-rounds, and some of these are go-rounds that we thought were already agreed upon, like, for example, the currency pact, which was supposedly done back in February, none of this has been written down. The tariffs for October have been suspended, but not the tariffs for December. So I find that very interesting. Huawei is not part of this agreement, and there has been some indication that there may be a formal signing of a document that, remember, that doesn't exist in December. Okay? So there's a lot still to be worked out. I guess some verbal general agreements have been made, but the formal writing, now let's face it, the actual writing is what's going to be part of the enforcement. We don't have any of the enforcement package either really set. So says Mnuchin. I'm taking this straight from Lighthizer, Mnuchin, and the president. These are comments that have been made. So no details on the intellectual property agreements, which is a big deal. That is a big deal. That was something that looked to be the the ungettable get, that intellectual property IP agreement, but it says there's a deal on IP, financial services, and a big agricultural purchase. By the way, agricultural purchases have been in effect mostly in soybeans. So what I want to talk about, though, here specifically on the broader averages is the fact that we are in overbought territory. This is a distribution market, gang. This is the same distribution market that we faded earlier. We're right back up into that area. Now, phase one means there's going to be a phase 2, 3, and who knows how many more, right? So phases do mean a little bit of the same type of psychology that we've been dealing with for the past 12 months, which is things are going to be great, things are going really, really well, but instead of trade talks, now we're talking about the different phases of the agreement being written up. So there is some opportunity by both sides to talk the markets up in anticipation of these promising new phases. But I will say we are once again at the top of the range, not only on price, but also on the V-score and the standard deviation. Take a look at the Dow. Also sitting up near the top of its range, not at the top, but near the beginning of the top. So I'm not saying that we're going to turn around on Monday and just sell off. I think we might see a few more positive headlines, a few more details being released. Let's get up into this zone north of 27,000, but still south of 27.5, and I will start to build positions to the downside there. The Russell tends to be the one that still looks like the best short. Now it looks a little bit more like a trend following short. And in the premium video, we're going to dive a little bit more, not only into these setups and the levels that we want to start building positions at, but you've got an idea now of where these larger positions, these larger zones, for these short positions are waiting. And then, of course, we want to be a little bit more pinpoint accurate about what those relative outperformers to the downside. I know that's a funny way of looking at it, but for me, you can be an outperformer to the upside, in other words, the best uptrend. You could be an outperformer to the downside, in other words, the best downtrend. Think Netflix, think Amazon, right? To the downside, think of the ITB, right, to the upside. Think of Apple to the upside. These are two very different trends, and they're going to be used in two very different ways. So we'll talk about all that and more. In the meanwhile, enjoy your weekend. It should be an interesting one here as we hear more about this deal from both sides. I'd like to see what kind of comments we're getting from the Chinese side. All of that, no doubt, will be part of the weekend news cycle, and I'll see y'all on Monday.